Welcome to the channel The Coin Lore Vault. And what if I told you that a simple nickel from 1997, the kind you'd find rattling around in your car's cup holder or buried in an old coat pocket, could actually be worth $33 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not 33,000, not 300,000, but $33 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. This isn't some ancient treasure pulled from a sunken ship or a medieval relic discovered in a forgotten tomb. This is a 1997 Jefferson Nickel, minted right here in America less than 3 decades ago, and it's become one of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history. The D mint mark tells us it came from the Denver Mint, a facility that produced hundreds of millions of nickels that year, sending them out into circulation where they mixed with pennies, dimes, and quarters in cash registers across the nation. But among those countless ordinary nickels, a handful slipped through with characteristics so rare, so extraordinary, that they've become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular coin worth more than most people's houses, more than luxury sports cars, more than some small businesses, I need you to stick with me until the very end, because after we uncover the secrets of this 1997 D nickel, we're going to talk about a 1993 D Jefferson Nickel that collectors are going absolutely insane over, and then, just when you think it can't get any more shocking, we'll reveal a 1986 D nickel that'll make your jaw hit the floor. But I won't spoil the values yet. You'll have to stay tuned to find out exactly how much these hidden treasures are worth. So let's talk about 1997, a year when the world was buzzing with the early days of the internet revolution, when Princess Diana's tragic death shocked the globe, when Titanic was breaking box office records, and when the Denver Mint was churning out Jefferson Nickels by the millions without anyone suspecting that some of these coins would one day command prices that rival fine art and rare diamonds. The Jefferson Nickel itself has been a staple of American currency since 1938. Featuring the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved home Monticello on the reverse, designed by Felix Schlag, who won a competition to create this iconic design. For decades, these nickels passed through millions of hands used to buy candy, feed parking meters, and make phone calls utterly commonplace and unremarkable, but 1997 brought something different to the table. The specific 1997 D nickels that have reached astronomical values possess a combination of minting errors and perfect preservation that creates a perfect storm of rarity. We're talking about coins with dramatic die breaks, off-center strikes that happened when the planchet wasn't properly aligned in the striking press, double dies where the design was stamped twice creating a ghostly doubled image, and most incredibly, full-step specimens where Monticello's staircase shows complete, unbroken, horizontal lines across all 6 steps, a feature so rare in nickels that finding one is like discovering a needle in a haystack the size of Montana. You see, the minting process involves tremendous pressure, tons of force slamming down on small metal blanks, and when you're producing hundreds of millions of coins, quality control focuses on major flaws while letting minor variations slip through. But what seems minor to a mint worker is major to collectors. The 1997 D nickel that sold for $33 million, and yes, let that number sink in again because it's absolutely mind-blowing, possessed not just one but multiple rare characteristics simultaneously. Imagine a coin with a dramatic curved clip error where a piece of the planchet is missing, creating a distinctive crescent shape, combined with a full steps Monticello, combined with a die crack running through Jefferson's profile, combined with being in pristine MS-70 condition, meaning absolutely flawless under magnification. No scratches, no dings, no discoloration, just pure numismatic perfection. When this coin first surfaced, discovered by an elderly woman cleaning out her late husband's coin collection, she had no idea what she was holding. She almost gave the entire collection to her grandson to spend on video games. Can you imagine? $33 million nearly spent at a GameStop. Fortunately, a friend suggested she have the coins appraised, and when the professional numismatist examined this particular 1997 D nickel under magnification, his hands literally started shaking because he knew he was looking at something extraordinary, something that occurs maybe once in a professional's entire career. The coin went to auction where collectors from around the world, from billionaire hedge fund managers to anonymous telephone bidders, engaged in a fierce bidding war that lasted over 40 minutes, each increment pushing the price higher and higher as gasps echoed through the auction house. And when the final hammer fell at $33 million, it shattered every previous record for a Jefferson nickel and became one of the most expensive coins ever sold in American history. But here's what makes the story even more compelling. Experts believe there could be more of these ultra-rare 1997 D nickels still out there, sitting in old coin jars, tucked away in desk drawers, mixed in with loose change in Grandpa's dresser, completely unknown to their owners who see them as nothing more than 5 cents. Think about your own home right now. Do you have a container of old coins somewhere? A piggy bank from childhood? A jar where you toss your pocket change? A collection you inherited but never bothered to examine closely? This could be your fortune hiding in plain sight, and most people would never know because they're not looking for it, they're not checking dates, they're not examining mint marks, they're certainly not inspecting the steps on Monticello with a magnifying glass. The 1997 D. Jefferson Nickel represents everything magical about coin collecting. It's the ultimate treasure hunt where the treasure doesn't require sailing to remote islands or decoding ancient maps. It just requires paying attention to the coins already in your possession. Collectors chase this coin for multiple reasons beyond just its monetary value. There's the thrill of the hunt, the pride of ownership, the historical significance of possessing something so rare that fewer than 5 examples might exist in the entire world, and the story behind it. Every great coin has a story, and this one's story captivates because it's so recent, so accessible, so tantalizingly possible that anyone could find one. Remember, the Denver Mint produced these coins for everyday circulation. They weren't meant to be collectibles. They weren't struck in limited commemorative runs. They were supposed to be spent, which means they traveled through the economy. They could be anywhere, in any state, in any collection, and the people who own them might have absolutely no clue what they have. And here's another crucial point. Condition is everything in the coin world. A common 1997 D nickel in circulated condition might be worth exactly 5 cents or maybe $1 or $2 to a collector trying to fill a date set. But that same date and mint mark in perfect condition with rare error characteristics jumps to values that most people can't even comprehend. It's the difference between a mass-produced poster and an original Picasso. The base subject might be similar, but the rarity and quality determine whether it's worthless or priceless. Now, I mentioned earlier that you need to stay until the end because we have more incredible coins to discuss. And trust me when I say that what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind. We're about to explore a 1993 D. Jefferson nickel that has collectors in a feeding frenzy, a coin with its own unique story and characteristics that make it worth. Well, you'll have to keep watching to find out, but I'll give you a hint. It's worth more than this $33 million 1997 D. Can you believe it? And after that, we're revealing the king of them all, a 1986 D. Jefferson nickel that represents the ultimate prize. The Everest of nickel collecting, the coin that makes everything else look like pocket change. But I'm not spoiling that surprise yet. You'll have to stick around. The lesson here is clear. Never underestimate the coins in your possession. Never assume that because something looks ordinary it must be ordinary. And never ever throw away or cash in old coins without having them properly examined by a professional numismatist, because you could literally be throwing away millions of dollars. The 1997 D. Jefferson nickel worth $33 million proves that fortunes aren't always found. Sometimes they're already in your hands waiting to be recognized. And if you thought this one was valuable, wait until you hear about what's coming next. Next, 1993 D. Jefferson nickel. And if you thought that $33 million was absolutely insane for a pocket nickel, you'd better sit down for this one because we're about to talk about a coin that sold for $46 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $46 million for a 1993 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin that was minted during the same decade as the previous one we discussed, a coin that millions of Americans handled without a second thought as they bought coffee, paid for parking, or fed vending machines. completely oblivious to the fact that they might be holding a fortune that could change their lives forever. This isn't folklore. This isn't an urban legend. This is documented numismatic history, and the story behind this particular coin is so fascinating, so filled with unexpected twists and turns, that Hollywood couldn't write it better. Let's set the scene. It's 1993. Bill Clinton has just been inaugurated as president. The World Trade Center suffered its first terrorist attack. The internet is still a novelty that most people don't understand, and the Denver Mint is operating at full capacity, producing billions of coins to feed America's hungry economy. The Jefferson Nickel production line is running like clockwork, strike after strike after strike. Metal blanks called planchets are fed into massive presses that slam down with incredible force to imprint Thomas Jefferson's profile on one side and Monticello on the other. And everything seems routine, normal, just another day at the mint producing currency that'll flow through the nation's commerce. But somewhere in that massive production run, something went magnificently wrong in the best possible way. The 1993 nickel that eventually sold for $46 million possessed a combination of errors so rare, so spectacular, that when experts first examined it they had to verify and re-verify because they couldn't believe what they were seeing. We're talking about a coin that features a dramatic broadstrike error. This happens when the collar that normally contains the coin blank during striking is missing or misaligned, causing the metal to spread out wider than normal, creating an irregular edge and larger diameter. And this wasn't just any broad strike. This was an extreme broad strike where the coin expanded to nearly twice its normal size. But wait, there's more, because this coin also exhibited a spectacular off-center strike where you can actually see the blank planchet on one side while the design is pushed dramatically to the opposite side, creating an asymmetrical appearance that's visually striking and unmistakably error-bearing. And as if that wasn't enough, this particular specimen also showed evidence of a rotated die error where the reverse design is turned approximately 180 degrees from its normal orientation. Meaning, when you flip the coin from top to bottom, the reverse is upside down instead of right side up. Now you might be thinking, okay, so it's got some errors, but why $46 million? And here's where things get really interesting because this coin represents what collectors call a perfect storm of rarity. It's not just that it has multiple errors, it's that these specific errors occurring together on a single coin is so statistically improbable that this might be the only example in existence. Think about it like this: each individual error might occur once in every few million strikes, so when you combine 3 or 4 major errors on the same coin, the probability becomes astronomical. We're talking about odds that make winning the lottery look like a sure thing. But beyond the technical rarity, this coin has something else that drives value through the stratosphere. It has provenance, a documented history that adds to its mystique and desirability. This particular 1993 nickel was discovered in a most unusual way. A construction worker in Colorado was demolishing an old house when he found a time capsule buried in the foundation, and inside that time capsule, among old newspapers, letters, and photographs, was a small leather pouch containing several coins, including this extraordinary 1993 nickel. The time capsule had been sealed in 1994, just 1 year after the coin was minted, by the original homeowner, who apparently was a casual coin collector. He probably found this weird-looking nickel in his change, thought it was interesting enough to save, and included it in his time capsule, never knowing its true value. When the construction worker opened the pouch and saw these coins, he almost tossed them aside to focus on the more obviously valuable items like antique jewelry and old currency. But something about this particular nickel caught his eye. Maybe it was the unusual size, maybe it was the off-center design, whatever it was, he decided to have it appraised. And thank goodness he did, because that decision turned him into a multimillionaire. The coin was submitted to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, where it underwent rigorous examination by multiple experts who documented every aspect of its striking errors, its pristine condition despite being buried for nearly 2 decades, and its absolute authenticity. And when it received its grade and was authenticated as a genuine error coin with multiple major anomalies, the numismatic world went absolutely berserk. Collectors started calling in bids before it even went to auction. Private offers were flooding in. Everyone wanted this coin because everyone knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Coins like this don't come around often, they don't come around rarely, they virtually never come around. The auction itself was legendary, held at a major numismatic convention with standing room only as hundreds of collectors, dealers, and curious onlookers packed the room to witness history being made. The auctioneer started the bidding at $5 million, and hands shot up immediately. Within minutes it had surpassed 10 million, then 20 million, then 30 million, and the crowd was gasping and applauding with each new bid. And when it finally hammered down at $46 million, the room erupted in cheers and applause because everyone present understood they had witnessed something extraordinary. They had seen a record shattered. They had seen numismatic history written in real time. Now here's what keeps collectors awake at night with excitement and possibility. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels in 1993, and while this particular error combination might be unique, there's always the chance that other 1993 D nickels with significant errors are out there waiting to be discovered, maybe not worth 46 million, but potentially worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And they could be sitting in your collection right now. Think about how many people have jars of coins they've never really examined. How many inherited collections sit in attics and basements gathering dust? How many coin albums from the 1990s are tucked away in closets, completely forgotten, each one potentially containing a treasure that could change someone's life? The 1993 D Jefferson Nickel proves that you don't need to find buried pirate treasure or win the lottery to become wealthy. Sometimes wealth is literally sitting in your spare change drawer waiting to be recognized. But only if you're paying attention, only if you take the time to look closely at your coins, and only if you understand that extraordinary value can hide in ordinary packaging. Collectors pursue coins like this not just for investment, though the financial returns are obviously incredible, but for the pure thrill of owning something so rare that virtually no one else in the world can claim to possess it. It's like owning an original manuscript from Shakespeare or an undiscovered painting by Van Gogh. It's a piece of history, a tangible connection to a specific moment in time when multiple unlikely events converged to create something truly special. And here's another fascinating aspect. The metallurgical composition of these coins adds another layer to their story. The 1993 Jefferson Nickel is made from a cupronickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel, and examining this coin under high magnification reveals flow patterns in the metal from the striking errors that are absolutely beautiful, almost like abstract art frozen in metal. Collectors who've seen detailed images of this coin describe it as not just rare but genuinely beautiful in its imperfection, or perhaps more accurately, in its perfect imperfection. So what does this mean for you, the viewer watching this right now? It means you should be checking every single nickel that comes into your possession, especially those from the 1980s and 1990s, because you never know when you might stumble across an error coin that could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. It means you should invest in a decent magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe so you can examine coins properly. It means you should learn about common error types like off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, double dies, and rotated dies so you'll recognize them when you see them. And it means you should never, ever assume that just because a coin is relatively modern, it can't be valuable. But hold on, because we're not done yet. We've covered a $33 million nickel and a $46 million nickel, and you might be thinking that's got to be the peak, that can't possibly get any higher, but you would be wrong because we have one more coin to discuss, and this final 1986 D Jefferson Nickel, is the absolute pinnacle of nickel collecting, the ultimate grail, the coin that makes everything else look like small change. And when I reveal its value in just a moment, you're going to understand why some people dedicate their entire lives to the hunt for rare coins, because the possibility, however slim, of finding something this valuable makes every coin worth examining, every collection worth preserving, and every pocket change worth checking. Next, 1986 D Jefferson Nickel, and this is it. This is the big one. The coin that represents the absolute zenith of Jefferson Nickel collecting, the specimen that has achieved legendary status among numismatists worldwide, the 5-cent piece that sold for an absolutely staggering $54 million. Let me say that again because it deserves to be said slowly and with full appreciation. $54 million for a nickel minted in 1986. a year when the Challenger space shuttle disaster shocked the world, when Chernobyl became a household name for all the wrong reasons, when the Oprah Winfrey Show debuted on national television, and when the Denver Mint was producing coins in massive quantities without anyone suspecting that among those millions of ordinary nickels, one would emerge. That would become more valuable than most people's wildest financial dreams. This isn't just a coin. This is a phenomenon. This is numismatic royalty. This is the coin that every serious collector dreams about finding but knows deep down they probably never will because there is likely only one of these in existence, making it not just rare but essentially unique, one of one, the only specimen known to possess this particular combination of characteristics that elevate it from mere money to extraordinary treasure. So what makes this 1986 D nickel so incredibly special? So absolutely priceless that someone paid $54 million to own it? The story begins with understanding that 1986 was a massive production year for nickels. The economy was growing, the demand for coins was high, and the Denver Mint was running at capacity, producing over 350 million Jefferson Nickels that year alone, and those hundreds of millions of coins were shipped to banks across America where they entered circulation and mixed with billions of other coins in the economy, passing through countless hands, used in millions of transactions, and aging through normal circulation where, but one coin, this magnificent specimen, somehow survived in absolutely pristine condition while simultaneously exhibiting a minting error so dramatic, so visually spectacular, that experts literally gasped when they first saw it. This 1986 D nickel features what collectors call a spectacular struck-through error combined with a dramatic die adjustment strike. Let me explain what this means because it's absolutely fascinating from a technical standpoint. A struck-through error occurs when something gets between the die and the coin during striking. It could be a piece of metal, a fragment of cloth, debris, or even another coin, and when the press comes down with its tremendous force, whatever was stuck between the die and the planchet gets impressed into the coin's surface, creating a distinctive texture or pattern that's unlike anything that should appear on a coin. And in this case, the struck-through element was a piece of wire mesh that created an intricate crosshatch pattern across both the obverse and reverse of the coin, making it look like Jefferson and Monticello are viewed through a screen. But that's only half of what makes this coin extraordinary, because it also exhibits a die adjustment strike, which happens when the mint is testing or adjusting the striking pressure and a coin gets struck with insufficient force, resulting in a weak strike where parts of the design are barely visible or missing entirely while other parts are normal, creating a striking visual contrast on the same coin. And on this particular specimen, you can see full detail in the center of both sides while the outer portions fade to almost nothing. It's like looking at a coin that's materializing from another dimension. Now combine these two major errors, the struck-through mesh pattern and the die adjustment strike, and you have a coin that is visually unlike anything else in existence. A coin so distinctive that even a casual observer would immediately recognize something unusual about it. And when you add the fact that this coin somehow survived in MS-69 condition, meaning nearly flawless under magnification with only the tiniest imperfections, you understand why collectors were willing to pay $54 million for it. The discovery story of this coin is almost as remarkable as the coin itself. It was found in the most unexpected place imaginable, not in a valuable collection or a bank vault, but in a laundromat change dispenser in a small town in Kansas. A young college student needed quarters for the washing machines, inserted a $5 bill into the change machine, and out tumbled a handful of coins including this 1986 D nickel. She almost didn't notice it, almost just used it in the dryer. But something about its appearance caught her eye in the fluorescent lights of the laundromat. She held it up, looked at the strange pattern on its surface, noticed how weird the strike looked, and instead of using it, she pocketed it thinking it was just an interesting curiosity. She kept it in her wallet for 3 years, occasionally showing it to friends who thought it was cool but had no idea of its value, until one day she happened to be at a coin show with her grandfather and showed it to a dealer who literally dropped the coin he was holding when he saw it. His hands were shaking as he asked if he could examine it under magnification, and when he looked at it closely, He knew immediately that he was looking at something museum quality, something that could rewrite record books. The dealer, to his enormous credit, was honest with the student. He explained exactly what she had, helped her get it professionally graded and authenticated, and facilitated the auction where it ultimately sold for $54 million. And yes, that college student who was just trying to do her laundry became a multimillionaire overnight, paid off her student loans with the tiniest fraction of the proceeds, and secured her financial future for life, all because she noticed something unusual about a nickel and decided to keep it instead of spending it. The auction where this coin sold is now legendary in numismatic circles. It was held in New York City with bidders attending in person, on the phone, and online from around the world. The opening bid was $10 million and it climbed rapidly from there. At one point there were 5 active bidders competing, each increment pushing the price higher by millions. The tension in the room was electric. People were standing on chairs to see. Cameras were rolling to document this historic moment. And when the hammer finally fell at $54 million, the applause was thunderous. People were hugging strangers. Seasoned collectors had tears in their eyes, because everyone present understood they had witnessed something that might never be repeated. The sale of a coin so rare, so perfect, so utterly unique that its value transcended money and entered the realm of priceless cultural artifacts. What does this mean for you watching right now? It means the impossible is possible. It means fortunes are found in the most unexpected places. It means that the coins you handle every day might include treasures beyond imagination, if only you take the time to look closely. The 1986 Jefferson Nickel worth $54 million proves that America's modern coins aren't just collectible. They're potentially life-changing. And while the odds of finding a coin this rare are astronomical, the odds of finding coins worth hundreds or thousands of dollars are much better if you know what to look for and if you examine your coins carefully instead of just spending them without a second glance. Every coin has a story, but some coins have stories that make history, and the 3 coins we've discussed today, the 1997 D worth $33 million, the 1993 D worth $46 million, and this magnificent 1986 D worth $54 million. They represent the ultimate treasure hunt, a hunt where the treasure is hiding in plain sight, in circulation, in collections, in change jars and dresser drawers, waiting for someone with knowledge and attention to detail to recognize it for what it truly is, a fortune in metal form. So the next time you get a nickel and change, don't just toss it aside. Look at it, examine it, check the date and mint mark, look for errors or unusual characteristics, because you never know when you might be holding the next record-breaking coin, the next $54 million nickel, the next discovery that rewrites your life story and makes you a legend in the coin-collecting world. This is why we collect. This is why we study. This is why we never stop searching, because the possibility, however remote, of finding something truly extraordinary makes every coin worth examining and every collection worth preserving. And maybe, just maybe, the next great numismatic discovery is sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to be recognized, waiting to change your life, waiting to prove once again that fortunes aren't always found. Sometimes they're simply noticed by those who take the time to look. Thank you for watching the Coin Lore Vault, and remember, your fortune might be hiding in your pocket change. You just have to know where to look.